Namaskar friends, welcome to Electronics Technology YouTube channel. Topic of Defense Technology News is Denmark declares ATMOS artillery systems combat ready after successful live fire testing. The last units of the ATMOS artillery system have now arrived in Denmark, completing the country's purchase of 19 vehicles. Their range and firepower were recently tested during live fire exercises conducted by 1st Artillery Battalion in the Boris training area. The final units of the ATMOS artillery system have now arrived in Denmark, completing the country's purchase of 19 vehicles. Their range and firepower were recently demonstrated during live fire exercises carried out by 1st Artillery Battalion in the Boris training area. The training took place in the dim winter conditions where daylight is limited and the terrain appears only in silhouette. Under these circumstances, the battalion conducted live firing with its new fire support systems to verify their operational readiness. Denmark's 19 ATMOS units combine a vehicle platform with a gun mounted on the rear and require a crew of 5 to operate. The system fires 155mm shells capable of striking targets up to 40 km away, roughly the distance from Horsens to Aarhus. The ATMOS systems are operated daily by the 1st Artillery Battalion at Oksbøl Barracks, which serves as the operational arm of the Danish Artillery Regiment. The battalion forms part of the 1st Brigade and its primary task is to provide heavy, long-range fire support. Lieutenant Colonel Kenneth Richorge, commander of the 1st Artillery Battalion, said, "One of the biggest differences between ATMOS and Caesar is that ATMOS has more operating modes. If, for example, a function fails, we can switch to manual and still retain combat capability. This gives ATMOS a much longer uptime, meaning the time it can remain on the battlefield rather than in the workshop." He also highlighted the system's mobility, adding, "Truck-based vehicles like ATMOS do not leave anywhere near as many tracks in the terrain as, for example, tracked vehicles do. It can move quickly into position, fire, and hide again. This makes it harder for the enemy to detect it, both from the ground and from the air via, for example, drones. Because of its long range, suitable training areas in Denmark are limited, so the solution was to operate the system from civilian land and fire into the Boris training area. Although unconventional, this method has been used for many years by artillery units, particularly around Boris and Oksbøl. ATMOS was introduced into Danish service last year after the Caesar systems were donated to Ukraine, and from next year conscripts will operate parts of the system. Before arriving in Denmark, the system had been tested by the supplier and other users, followed by additional Danish test firings. Artillery crews at Oksbøl brought extensive experience from other systems, which eased the transition to ATMOS. As Richorge explained, the retraining itself was only at crew and practical level in terms of how ATMOS is constructed. The concept behind and the overall principles for using artillery systems are the same for the 1st Artillery Battalion as, for example, with Caesar. The ATMOS systems remain owned by the Defense Acquisition and Logistics Organization, which expects to transfer them to the Army during the coming spring. Do you like this video? Please subscribe, share, like and press bell icon for getting notifications of Electronics Technology YouTube channel, and for searching my YouTube channel please write @Electronics Technology 50.